here on this nice day to show you 60 years in the history of automotive electrics and electronics. See the vast changes that have taken place to make cars better. We'll start with Professor Streisand's beautiful Alfa Romeo.
All right, so this is a 1965 Alfa Romeo. It's called the Giulia TI. They were making this from 62 to about 75, 76, around there. It's a very basic car. It has a 2-liter motor in it, 4-cylinder. It has dual Weber carburetor, so it's a side draft. They have 4 barrel. Each barrel is independently controlled. It has, traditionally, it would have the standard point distributor. This one has been upgraded a bit. So this might be the only microprocessor in the entire car. It has electronic ignition, and the distributor is made by the company called 123. In there you can reprogram the curve. You can do all kinds of things so that the car can be adjustable a little bit. Other than that, it's a very basic car. It has no power steering. It doesn't really have any kind of, there's no ships in this car except for that distributor. Why don't we take a look inside? Alright, so this is what the key of this car looked like. I think it's pretty much generic. Anybody could probably start this car. Alright, so here's the interior of this car. So there's an accelerator here, which basically is connected by a cable to the throttle linkage, which in turn connects to the butterfly that open up the carburetor. It doesn't have power steering. It does have power brake. It's a tach that basically is connected to a cable that is connected to the water pump of the car. As the water pump turns, the gear turns, then it spins up this tachometer. Same thing with the speedometer, but there is a cable that connects to the transmission. There's a gear in there. As the gears turn, it spins up the ribbon here so that it can go up and down. A little bit of electronics here, but very basic. There's a float in the tank, and there's an electric circuit. There's an electric circuit that connect so that you can tell how much gas you have, how much oil pressure you have. And there's a pressure sensor in the engine, and then there's also a temperature sensor to tell you how hot is your water on the radiator.
This is a 2003 Corvette Z06, radically different from the Alfa we just saw. No carburetor. This is fuel injected. There's an engine control unit down here that controls the timing of the fuel injection and of the spark. We have power brakes, we have power steering. And we have multiple computers in the system that are connected by a network. So let's take a look inside and see some more changes. So we have a mechanical key here, but it has an anti-theft device, a resistor. I'll leave a link for a video on the history of car keys below. It also has a remote. Inside, we see more changes. There's an OBD2 port here that was mandated by Congress to allow maintenance and update of these modern automobiles. Throttle by wire. There's no mechanical connection between the pedal and the engine control. It's all electronic, part of the network. We see here a feature that is still unusual in modern cars, a heads-up display. There's a display built into the dash. A partially silvered section of the windshield allows you to see the speed and other components. We have a very small electronic display here. It's used not just for the odometer, but for a variety of things. You can even read codes off the network through that display. The entertainment system is largely analog, but this has a CD player, which was relatively new at the time. This car also featured active handling, which was a very advanced stability control for its time. Used an aircraft yaw sensor and an accelerometer to sense the car's motion. It compared that to the steering wheel position that the driver wanted the car to go. It then used a separate hydraulic system to tap the brakes in order to keep the car under control and going where the driver wanted it to. Now let's take a look at a more modern car. This is a 2023 Odyssey. We see big changes in the sensors. There's a radar unit here. There's a camera up by the rear view mirror. These sensors allow the car to perform driver assist functions. Adaptive cruise control that adjusts to the distance of the car in front. Not only sensing the positions of the lanes, but also adjusting the steering in order to help keep the car in the lane. Now let's take a look inside. This generation of key has a proximity sensor, so the car knows when the key is nearby and will automatically unlock the car. Inside, we see big changes in the infotainment system. We have 2 screens. This is a touch screen, and it provides all the modern software conveniences. And of course, the network in this car is even more complicated than the 2003 car. You've seen multiple generations of car electronics that have been made possible by the invention of the microprocessor and advanced sensors. These improvements have made cars more fuel efficient, safer, and better to drive. Thanks for watching.